Hello Redditors, welcome back to Tales Against Humanity. Now, let's get started. In today's episode,
I can't believe this just happened. Yesterday, one of our newish support members got an email from our CEO asking for a report for a list of clients and some API keys. He naturally asked me and some other devs where we kept the keys so he could send off the report. Everyone pretty much said, "Wait, let's verify this before doing anything crazy." Anyone could tell this request was off, but not this kid apparently. We logged into work today and had our stand-up where he said he sent off the report yesterday. The call got completely silent. Then our project manager started grilling him and ended the meeting so she could go track down the CEO and make sure it was actually him, and if it was the CEO, that he isn't being fished either. Still waiting on the results, but the rest of us are mentally prepping for the worst now. Wish us luck. Edit, y'all asked for an update. Well, it's here. Mostly, they are still keeping us in the dark, but I learned a few things. A bit anticlimactic for y'all, happy day for me. Everything should be okay. The suspicious request, surprisingly, was from our CEO. He used an alt account and sent the email in a rush and didn't format it like he normally does. Lots of red flags, but fortunately turned out fine. As for the API keys, they still should have never been released, so now there is still a constant security risk. No clue what the seniors decided to do about that, they keep that stuff pretty hush-hush. The kid somehow kept his job for now. He got chewed out and probably thought he was getting fired. I'm sure he learned a very valuable lesson. He will be watched closely for a while, hopefully also be required to retake the security training. My boss is probably re-evaluating how those keys are stored, but for now it is business as usual. Edit 2, I know people have moved on, but wow, I got one last update. No one learned their lesson apparently. My boss just did something just as stupid today. Send out an email to all devs with just a link to a file and a message that said, "Hey, I need everyone to download and install this." That's it, nothing else. I verified it was him, still didn't download it though lol, but there were several who didn't double check and installed the remote access software without questioning it. How are people this oblivious? Story 2. That one time I almost killed an end user, anaphylaxis. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this post because it is absolutely avoidable and it was directly my negligence that led to this unfolding, but I figured I'd tell it and share it with others as rules and regulations around anaphylaxis are real and for good reason even if you don't keep it at the forefront of your mind. It's often forgotten about in IT when working on end-user devices, in particular pre-COVID, but now I imagine cleanliness and sanitation measures are at the forefront of people's minds in the COVID world. So, the context of this story was at a K-12 school and I was the help desk monkey that would see and triage things where I can and assist the desktop engineer where I can where and when he was backlogged. A tale as old as time, re-imaging a PC, everyone knows how to do it. It's so simple you could probably do it with your eyes closed if your fleet of devices are all similar devices. In some cases, you do it really quickly just to get the process rolling before or after your break just because you know it's going to take a hot minute. Well, in my case it was while I was having a small snack, and this is where I fucked up, with a fruit/nut bar. You might think, well, I mean, those things are usually sticky and kind of stay together, right? Kind of difficult to drop crumbs of it onto a user's device, right? Well, depending on the severity of the allergy, some kids can get a reaction, minor or otherwise, from coming in contact with their allergy. This is something the school nurse reamed us about every year. All staff on site needed to be proficient in administering an EpiPen at least twice a year and prove competency. To make things worse, we shared the same building as the nurse's office, so we were also inherently held to a higher standard as we were constantly used as guinea pigs for other staff to practice their skills. Now, just in case you're not aware, EpiPens aren't cheap, or at least they weren't at the time. I know there's probably a bit more competition now and they might not run a monopoly on it now, but they cost a fair bit each, even in a country like Australia where we're known for healthcare, subsidized medication, etc. Our student in question needed 2 of them while the ambulances arrived, and he made a full and timely recovery. Words were had between IT and the nurses, but it surmounted to nothing more than a slap on the wrist for me. Think working conditions, time away from the desk, solo help desk for 1,800 students/staff, but you could tell they were peeved about it. The moral of the story is that anaphylaxis is no joke, and enterprise or not, some people may have their allergies into adulthood. Don't snack or eat where you build out or have end-user devices for cleanliness and health reasons. Story 3. Oh well, that was easy. This happened for me around Christmas and I just recently have been able to put the trauma behind me so I can tell the story. We have a custom-made iOS app that our guys in the field use for logging the hours they spend on their jobs. It's an app made about 5 years ago from 2 different companies. No one has touched it since, no one knows how it works or where to find the source code, nothing is documented. One day, a quiet afternoon, a coworker from accounting came to me and said she couldn't use Navision. I tried to open Navision and sign in, but it failed. What could this be caused by? Remote into the server, and yes. SSL certificate expired. Bummer, but okay, not a huge issue. I got a new certificate, installed it on the server, and everything was going smoothly. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Navision, in order to set the certificate for Navision, you have to use Navision Administration MMC to set the cert thumbprint for all server instances in order for it to kick in. Our iOS app communicates with our Navision with SOAP and OData, so this runs as a Navision instance. Everything started working, except that damn app. No matter what we did, or how many times we rebooted the instance, the app would simply not work. I contacted our now previous Navision developer contractor and asked for help. They had no clue on anything, so I quickly moved on. I got a hold of another Navision senior developer and asked for help. This guy, he reminds me so much of Dr. Emmett Brown from Back to the Future. Just as confusing he can be, just as much of a genius. We started troubleshooting together and could see in Event Viewer that the server rejected connection attempts from the app. It seemed like it was still using the thumbprint from the old certificate. I spent nights and days trying to find out what was wrong, troubleshooting on a system that nobody knew anything about. The next day, I finally found an article on TechNet. This was about setting SSL certificates on IP address and ports. The app is using a specific port, and with a quick command in CMD, I could see that the port indeed used the old thumbprint even though we changed it in Navision Admin Center a million times. One CMD command to delete the old thumbprint, and one CMD command to set the new thumbprint. Hallelujah, the app started working again. I took the rest of day off and tried my best not to become a raging alcoholic. Story 4. Tech illiteracy. Just a little rant. I had a support ticket where someone wasn't getting our emails after a certain date. I checked our communication system and advised them that our emails to their email address had been suppressed on a certain date, thought I couldn't see why, and the only information I had was that the user either marked the email as spam, the email was undeliverable, and therefore became suppressed, or their email server blocked or filtered them. I relayed this information kind of trusting the user would understand the ball was in their court and our company couldn't do anything about it. But I got a follow-up request for help with this, so I googled how to get emails not automatically sent to Spam plus Outlook and showed her the results. The user could have easily done this themselves. I'm trying to be understanding and patient, but it sometimes annoys me when people don't understand what is something our company's tech support can help with or not. I've had users in previous jobs ask for help troubleshooting their device, or questions about their bank account, or whatever, when the only thing I could do was help them with our own app. I feel like half my job some days is Googling things for users or telling them, you need to reach out to your bank for help with that, or not sure, that's something that your email provider should be able to help with though. Anyone else relate? The majority of the time it doesn't bother me, but I guess I'm in a mood today.